As a big fan of action RPGs, I was thrilled when Xuan Yuan Sword 7 was announced for the Nintendo Switch. You know, the prospect of frenetic combat set against an ancient Chinese landscape was truly exciting. However, my enthusiasm was dampened by a persistent worry. Could this demanding title fall prey to the aging hardware of the Switch? You know, recently we've witnessed several brilliant games marred by these limitations, leaving fans and myself, I guess, more frustrated than entertained. So the big question is, can Xuan Yuan Sword 7 rise above these often seen technical challenges, or will it be another poorly performing port? Let's find out. Alright, if you do enjoy the video, subscribe, helps out the channel a huge amount, and in this one, I'm going to be referring to the game as this one from here on out because I'm definitely butchering the name, but you're going to be stepping into the shoes of Taishi Zhao. You're going to be embarking on an epic journey. So the story here, it kicks off with a dramatic invasion, shattering your peaceful family life and forcing you and your sister to flee based on your parents' desperate orders. Now fast forward a decade or so, and you are now caring for your sister throughout, I guess, this environment. You're basically crafting essential medicines and you're taking on odd jobs as a hunter. Now it's honestly clear at this point your skills far surpass this humble role, but it's obviously paying the bills and keeping your heads, I guess, low in this world. But yeah, it's clear your family basically once held wealth, power, and they trained you while in combat, so this is quite the contrast to those opening moments. So yeah, anyway, in these early moments, you do agree to guide an army through a treacherous landscape, but things, they take a turn when demons suddenly attack. They severely injure your sister in the process. Here, desperation now leads you to encounter an imprisoned deity who promises to bring your sister back to life if you do agree to free them. And so there, your adventure truly begins. Now I gotta say here, this is just the tip of the iceberg. The story here, incredibly detailed and just continually evolving. Expect wars, ancient demons, personal struggles, hidden family secrets, side quests, a wide array of characters, and just even more from there. It really is something impressive. To get into gameplay, this is an action RPG, meaning real-time combat with a whole host of systems implemented to allow you to shape your character and eventually your squad as you please. Some will make the comparison to Souls games, given the ability to parry, and then it's, I guess, spin on stamina-based action, but before that scares you, it is worth noting that it probably holds more similarities to something like The Witcher. I think we do throw around the Souls-like tag a little bit too much now, and in my opinion, this is far from a Souls level of challenge, even if a few of the many boss encounters can be challenging. In fact, as well as a note on this game, it's actually quite linear, even though you can explore freely as you please. The combat, however, is great fun. It's combo-based with light and heavy attacks that do evolve thanks to the game's stance system. These unlock with progress and you can switch between two at any time. This is manageable from a simple menu system. Now these stances, they impact our lead in a few ways, but most notably, you get a special attack associated with a face button, and then your heavy attack changes. So for example, one stance may deliver fast martial arts attacks, while another delivers a devastating sword swing. Mastering these absolutely key to your progression. What also impresses during combat is your squad. Now initially you're going to be a team of two, a third is then introduced, and these characters, they're going to follow you around, they're going to battle alongside you, and granted, occasionally their choice of enemy is weak, but they still deliver a decent amount of damage. They definitely act as a support, which is what you want to see. You can then, however, also leverage these with what's called companion moves. Now, many of the heavy attacks in this game, they act on a cooldown timer. The same goes for these, but basically you hold down the left trigger, you press the associated face button, and that actually appears in the lower left of the screen, and then you can see things such as, think, a massive sword attack or bombs. They're just great fun to leverage. There's even some mystical attacks, such as one that imprisons your enemies or slows down time. So combat, as you probably can tell, is a big focus for this adventure, but what I really enjoyed was Elysium. This is a location that you can visit at any time from the pause menu. It's essentially a hub world for crafting and improving your items at hand. So think weapon upgrades, accessories, armor, and so on. Basically, this game's not going to force you to trek to a local town to advance your weaponry and items, and I really like that idea of crafting on the go. It adds a lot of value instead of like making you backtrack constantly. The only reason you actually may need to backtrack to a town is if you lack resources or to complete one of the many side quests. It definitely just provides generally these nice hub locations to visit, the different stores, pick up goods, but you can also completely basically ignore them. And yeah, occasionally I will add, you will even find traders exploring in the world too. The game, if you do want to kind of go jumping about different towns as well, it features a fast travel system, something I personally always love to see. There's not a huge amount else to it, honestly. This is a game of exploration, though granted, as I said, quite linear. And then on top of that, character growth, and yeah, the contained systems, they are well implemented. In fact, with the core gameplay itself, I have very few complaints. I would maybe argue the save systems are a little, frustrating. You have to find these shrines or campfires. Please just let me save anywhere instead. Then dungeons, I got lost a couple of times, they don't have maps. The camera, I found when using the lock-on system, gets a little bit wonky with an aggressive angle, so once I got used to the combat, I stopped relying on it. And finally, for minor complaints, there are some simplistic QuickTime events. I don't mind these personally, but I'm going to put it out there because I know that they are not for everyone. Sadly though, the good must come to an end. While I enjoyed the core experience, the frame rate, it has its issues. Like the video today, if you did see that coming, I know many of you definitely did. Now, first of all, look, it is unlocked, and I do want to be fair here. While it's constantly fluctuating, I actually felt comfortable with it a lot of the time. The most common hold I would see was right around 27 to 30 frames per second, though the game does like to stutter, especially in those larger locations. However, there are moments where this will drop quite aggressively, particularly when there's a large number of enemies on screen at any one time. It also gets further impacted by your squad because when you have the full 3-member setup, you have these special moves and flashy effects just going off all over the place, and yeah, it is clear at this point the hardware wants to cry. In these moments, I was as low as 18 to 20, as you can see on screen, but there was the occasional freeze, which definitely makes strategies such as parrying particularly difficult. I should note as well, I played this game on the normal difficulty setting, and this would only be further frustrating, I imagine, on that higher difficulty option. So yeah, here's the question, I guess. Does it destroy the experience? And for me personally, no. I'm not the most forgiving with frame rate, but in this case I was able to get through it, and there was still so much to like from the combat to the storytelling that I was personally willing to push through. Based on this issue, however, would Switch be my first choice? And absolutely not. It's available pretty much everywhere else, so if you do have the option, I would say go there. I won't deny though, it is clear they put effort in, and if you ask me at this point, we are getting every bit of power out of this system. Also, one other final note on this issue as well, it does of course at times cause a noticeable lag at points, which is of course a byproduct of that. Visually, it's a mixed bag. You'll catch constant glimpses of beautiful scenery, impressive architecture, and brutal-looking enemies, but this will be matched with a decent amount of pop-in, low-resolution textures, and some wonky animations. So look, let's try to focus on the good, shall we? Enemy variety is nice, and the huge selection of factions, from demons to humans, means there's something constantly interesting around that next corner. Bosses are huge, featuring unique attack strategies, and they definitely intimidate as you would expect. Top of this, dungeons look great. They're not only detailed, but also varied in their concepts with good use of the surrounding landscape, kind of reflecting years of abandonment. Our lead character then looks great, as well as even outfit changes that you can play with. And finally, the cutscenes are fantastic. There's a mix of in-game engine-styled scenes, epic animated sequences, and some occasional hand-drawn moments too, kind of reflecting that ancient setting. Audio finally, and it's well done. The world is fleshed out with numerous sound effects. Towns feel mostly alive. You can hear conversations in passing, and the combat's well represented. The voice acting is particularly high quality, with a constant flow of dialogue as you explore. And I guess one issue from that you may face is the constant dialogue. It is in Chinese, meaning you might miss some of the subtitles in game should something action-packed be happening in the background. But overall, just great to hear these different characters interacting. Finally, the soundtrack. This orchestral score is simply stunning, hitting all of the right highs and lows that you would anticipate from such a story. And yeah, I'm going to be listening to this one outside of the game. So overall, look, it's clearly a fantastic experience, and that fact is reinforced by my patience to deal with the game's fluctuating frame rate. Again, would the Switch be my first choice of the system to play this on? Again, no, but If it's your only option and you are willing to forgive its shortcomings, I say go for it. Just be warned, I believe the hardware is being pushed to the limit at this point, and this release isn't a we'll patch it down the line situation. This is a we've got everything we can from the hardware and this particular game's architecture, because honestly, when you play this, the effort is absolutely clear. So yeah, look, overall, fantastic story with fun combat, an easy to use upgrade system, an entertaining cast that's then marred by some visual challenges, and a frame rate that fluctuates with aggressive drops just occasionally, just a few areas, and there's even the occasional freeze. So today, I'm still going with it a good 7 out of 10. There is issues, but so many of these areas still managed to shine through, and I really did have a good time. So will you be picking this one up? Let us know in the comments. With that, hit subscribe, join us here for reviews, deals, news and lists daily, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.